Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Eli. I'm a small cap momentum day trader, scalping. I have pretty short hold times. To the long side, I haven't been doing this for a super long time. I think I started in December, around December, and started to become not consistently profitable. I'm not profitable, but started trading consistently daily in around February. So check out my last video for my metrics. Currently I can't show that, but check it out for the last video. So I want to share my trades today. I only had 2 trades today. They were both micro pullbacks on the same stock. So let's switch over to this. So these were my trades. So we had LHSW. So first trade was in here. Nope. Was in here. Right, so 6 my time, which would be 7 market time. Yep. So it would have been right in here. So this is a micro pullback I was looking at. Sorry for all the zooming. But this is the micro pullback I was looking at. I got in right here at 556. My stop was down here right at 525, just about. First profit target, high day. And then I scaled out some more here for the rest. So I only did 2 shares on that. So yeah. And then I had another trade on it, also the 10-second at 9:03 market time, which was this pop here. So we had this micro pullback. I got in right here looking for the squeeze up. You can see the volume profile was nice. It was pulling back. Got that candle over candle pattern on this red doji. It just didn't work, so I cut it for small loss for 5 shares. So yeah, those are my trades. So I've been working on my system, kind of my hotkeys and stuff right now. If you haven't checked it out before, I highly recommend checking this out. This is my day trading live journal. I do fill it out live every day. It just helps me get a sentiment of how I'm feeling, how the market is, and it has all my rules and my strategy kind of all in one place. So it's just super easy document to keep everything in one place. This is a checklist. So I don't do this on paper always before every stock, just because I'm getting used to it and kind of have this stuff memorized. But I pretty much check every box before I take a trade. So yes, this is very helpful, but you can see my entry, stop, take profit, all that stuff is in there. I'm trying to make it very systematic. But one thing I've been working on to try and make it systematic is kind of my risk reward and stuff like that. So right now, an R for me right now, my risk is $1. Just because I'm super small size and I want to stay really systematic and small size. So it's $1. So I have a button that buys 2 shares. So whenever my stop is 20 cents away from my entry, I do 5 shares. Let me rephrase that. When the stock is 50 cents away from my entry, I do 2 shares, which would be $1 of risk per trade. When the stock is 20 cents away from my entry, I do 5 shares, which would be $1 of risk. Roughly. So if it's like, if the stock is 15 or 30, I'll have to, pick which one to do. But roughly 20 cents or roughly 50 cents. So that's something I was working on today. My pre-trading plan today was take the setups with proper size A, if a stop is 50 cents, then you take 2 shares. If a stop is 20 cents, you take 5 shares. $2 is my goal. So, yep. There were only 2 real opportunities that I saw today. Those 2 shares. So let's look at the live trades for today. So I started out with this trade on, this is the recording right here. So started with this trade on LHSW's first trade of the day. So probably don't need to zoom out that much, but I'm just looking at.
Get above 5. It has a lot of room above 5.
I'm looking at where it would come into resistance.
There's a ton of room above 5.
So it breaks 5 there. Immediately pops up a bunch. Maybe I should have gotten in there, but I'm waiting for my one strategy, my one setup.
Light volume on the pullback, that's good. Slow and steady. On 550.
Running off.
Nice pop.
LHSW.
Sold one into high day.
Yep, I got $1.
LHSW.
Sorry, 50 cents.
Nice.
50 cents, sorry, not $1.
LHSW.
Hell, damn it.
Yeah,
I was just
cut it there.
gonna be happy that that's.
Nice.
So that was my trades on it.
See the 10-second chart there?
So I want to share with you this visual I made that I always find helpful. So this is the pattern that I'm looking for. It's one pattern. It happens on really every time frame. It's called the bull flag or the micro pullback. Bull flag on a 1 minute, micro pullback on a 10-second. So as you can see, let's I need to move things around just a tad. Sorry about that. Let's move this here. Okay. So as you can see, this pullback that I traded was right in here. I mean, this is picture perfect, right? So this is the pattern. Your entry is right here. Well, first off, the volume, you want declining volume. We got that. Your entry is the candle over candle right here. We got that. And then the stop is down here. So this is where I entered. I entered a little bit late, but not too bad at all. And then my stop was here. You could hear me say scaling out to high day. So that's right here. That's my first profit target. My next profit target is the next half or whole dollar. So I was looking at 650 was my next. When it didn't work up here, I just cut it. Maybe I sold a little too soon, but I just saw resistance. I cut it somewhere in here. I think it was 612. So yeah, but this is almost picture perfect of this pattern. And this happens all the time on every time frame. So I'm just sticking to this one pattern. This will be my bread and butter. So just want to share this picture with you guys. Hopefully that's helpful. And then let's pull this, not that. Let's pull this video up again. So you can see picture perfect. You can see my entry, my exit. If you want to watch it back, you can look at the level 2 and all that. So here's just the rest of the bit.
Good trade. I got that too. Well, that was the first 10 seconds, so you could get another 10-second
Running
here
off.
if it doesn't break.
So I was looking for maybe a second micro pullback here. Typically you get
And
Typically, you
the
get two
chart
legs.
only has 20 seconds to close red.
The first is the highest probability, but typically it's 2 trades and done, 2 legs and done. Sometimes you get 3, but it's unlikely.
Showing all weakness.
So
It's gonna break the 10-second 90.
Yeah, so there it's probably gonna need a
honestly, this would have been a fine trade to take. I would have been happy with myself if I took this trade. But I didn't. I think because the 1 minute candle was looking a little bit too weak. So I was just, better safe than sorry. I have a little profit. I executed well. I want to stay on a hot note, So typically you get the 2 legs and then it'll switch to the 1 minute chart. And then you'll get 2 legs on the 1 minute chart. Then you'll switch to the 5 minute. Depending on how, big of a move stocks make. But that's just the thesis.
Yeah, probably felt like near the 9. Yeah, it's been 98.
So just changing that here.
Running
I
off.
helped really good on it,
Yeah.
but I sold too quick, so I didn't
Nice.
hesitate. But
Yeah.
I helped through the little bit of a drawdown. I got in at 550 on that one on the dot.
Yeah. Yeah, I got in.
I sold it right around 6.
I got in.
So we're just kind of talking about the trade we took. Watch the 1 minute chart, see if it forms the
Nice volume
pattern.
in 1 minute. Good morning, Tins.
So see if we can.
Running off.
Nice. Nice.
So see if we can get the pattern here. We have the decreasing volume. I don't want to talk over. We have the decreasing volume. That's nice. It meets criteria as far as right now. So see if we can get the candle or candle squeeze back up. That's what we're looking for now.
Yeah. Look at the consolidation here. It's nice on the 1 minute. The pullback is controlled. CRE is moving. It's choppy.
So just being patient, waiting for it. Waiting for the break. So we got that break. I missed it. I was too late, so I wasn't gonna chase it. I was definitely looking for the break of 6 right at that previous candle, and I just missed the trade. But listen to my commentary afterwards. So the risk to reward wasn't.
I missed this, but also the risk to reward wasn't really there, which is why I hesitated, so I didn't break that down. But yeah, that was a good idea to not get in. They're just this high is just too close. And if I get in here, that's 30 cents my profit target for a stop that's 50. So that makes no sense.
Yeah. So you just hear my commentary, after the fact. So that's something to be careful of, is whenever you're taking this pattern, you ideally want the high day to be, I would say at the very least, a 1-to-1 profit to loss ratio. At the very least. Ideally, 2 to 1. But on my 10-second trade, I wrote it down. The profit target was 1.5 to 1. So the profit target that I had in mind at high a day, the first profit target, was 1.5 times what I was risking, which is a good trade. I'll take that any day if it meets my criteria. So that's good. So now we can just skip ahead here. Really just watching this symbol. And it doesn't really do much else. Kind of just consolidates. So there was my first trade of the day. Now let's talk about some trades that I didn't take, some tickers I was watching that I didn't trade.
So let's see, news.
So if this stock doesn't have news, well, it does have news.
Would have been a nice little playoff.
Running on. News for GMEX. News for JTAI. News for BGT. News for FLYX and MDNORE.
So you can see with Charts Watcher that I use, I get news alerts. So typically at the top or the bottom of the hour, so we had 8:30 here, you get a lot of news. So that's just what it sounds like when all those news comes in.
GMEX.
So now I'm checking out the symbols, seeing which one's moving, which one people are responding to the news on. So there we go. The stock hits my high day momentum scanner. So typically I trade off of this scanner. So whenever stocks hit that scanner, usually it means that they are pretty solid candidates to take a trade. Here I didn't know, but if you click log, it's a lot easier to see the daily chart. So I spend way too much time kind of zooming in, checking things out. The 200 EMA was really far away, which is not a good symbol or not a good sign.
GMEX.
Everything right now is just too early. Relative volume is getting there. Okay, we got resistance.
So the relative volume here is
11.
it's approaching
We got resistance
500%.
11, 12, and then we're up to 20.
So I check the daily chart. Typically these areas where there's lots of wicks, or like the next high wick becomes resistance. So right here would be resistance, right here would be a little bit of resistance, and then here can be a little bit of resistance. It's called a gap right here. Typically that's really nice to see on a daily chart. If a stock is approaching from here to here, this gap, usually you can sometimes get a gap fill, where there's not going to be a lot of selling pressure because there's no resistance there. But yeah, so there's that, and then we have room up to 20, which is the top of this next one. So that's what I was saying there. We have a pretty big pullback here.
Yeah, no, risk on this one's gonna be high. Could get a micro pullback here. Volume is okay.
Volume is okay. It's not lower. Ideally, it would be kind of down here on this red volume. So I'm looking for a trade here.
90 EMA, that's strong.
Spread is like 24, 25 cents though, dude.
But my friend calls out the spread is way too high. And that's something I didn't notice. That's something to be careful about. So if I would have taken a trade here, see I get in at like 850 and my profit target is 950 or whatever this is. So if I get in at 850 with a 20-cent spread, I'm really going to get filled at 870. And then whenever I go to sell here at whatever 950, I'm really going to get filled at 930. So I'm losing 40 cents a share on the spread. That's not, in the long run, you're not going to succeed by trading things with a huge spread based on this style. So I was like, okay, I'll go hands off.
Yeah, I'm not touching this
No,
shit.
I can't touch that.
Can't trade it. And then, so this pullback it pulls back too far. Goes below the 9 EMA and below Whop, which is weakness.
Yeah. Yeah. was. Yeah, okay.
So now I just go read the news. So there's really nothing else to this clip. Let's go to another symbol that kind of popped up and I didn't trade. Let's talk about why I didn't trade it. So this is IPW. I think, yeah, they came out with news at 8:45, so this is just right after 8:45. Come out with news, the stock starts popping up. As soon as I pull it up, I see this huge selling candle. On these pullback patterns, if they're strong, if, you know, they're more likely to work whenever the pullback is more gradual, which you could see on my LHSW trade number 1. So I don't know why I'm muted, but I was basically just saying this is not looking good. Volume is it's fine, but a little bit higher than I'd like. Big candle. It's below Whop. You know, there's just a lot of indicators here that just don't meet an A+ setup, so I'm not going to take it. I want to trade the best and leave the rest because I'm not going to have any problem in the future with scaling up. I could go to, you know, I could change this to 200 shares and 500 shares and then 1,000 and then 2,000, and I probably wouldn't get much slippage there if I'm trading the right patterns. But if I'm not trading the right patterns, I'm just going to lose money in the long run. So here's what this stock does. It gives a little curl. It's above Whop. It's not really meeting my A+ setup, so I just leave it alone. I'm just not going to trade this. Also, the relative volume is kind of low. We want to see this at 500% or 5x. So it's low. Checking out the daily chart where resistance is going to be. There's going to be resistance right there at 3. There's going to be resistance at 4. So, yeah. It's just my general workflow and process. And so ultimately, there just wasn't a setup on that symbol today. Now, I have my second trade on LHSW. So let's skip to that. Just go right over here to 11:45. Okay. So I'm on another ticker.
Running up.
And then LHSW hits my running up scanner. So this is my high day momentum scanner. This is my running up scanner. So when stocks are making a move, but they're not making new highs, it'll hit this scanner and not this scanner. So this is still a good, I'll still take trades off of this.
LHSW might be getting some attention.
So it's getting some attention right after 9. So I kind of thought we were going to get breaking news at 9, and then there'd be a symbol that just like pops up, and I'd trade a micro pullback in that. That's kind of my strategy with breaking news, but there just wasn't anything today. So LHSW actually did not have news, which is kind of weird, but the momentum was so good that I traded it. So of Ross Cameron's 5 pillars of stock selection, which are price, float, volume, news, and percentage change. News is the only one that I can sometimes still get A quality setups with no news. You know, and maybe you could say that they're not A quality setups, but they're still high enough quality for me to trade them and make money on them.
Still no news.
So still no news.
No.
So I see that there is
Just continuation.
resistance at 580. That's what I was saying before.
How brutal. rejection at 580. And still pop and hold that.
So we're just waiting, you know. There we go. There's 580.
There we go.
LHSW.
I think the big game was close here.
Running on.
So, you know, some advanced traders might take this right around 5.8, like right after it breaks out 580. It's a breakout trade. For me, historically, I haven't done very well on those. It's just harder to manage my risk. But you can see that the potential is definitely there. I mean, 580 up to $7, $1.20 a share on a pretty cheap stock. You know, you could get a lot of profit off that. So maybe that's something that I'll implement in the future, but I'm just not ready for that yet.
LHSW.
So it's okay I missed it. I'm not going to FOMO. You know, I'm not going to jump in right here.
LHSW.
It's okay I missed that move. So now I'm looking for a micro pullback. So up here, the same pattern I've traded before. I'm looking for a micro pullback.
Okay, lighter volume, selling. Could get a micro pullback here. Come on.
INLF.
10 seconds on one.
So there's, you know, I'm not mad with this trade at all. But I got in here for the break of this previous candle. And when it didn't work, it went below my stop, which was right here. I cut it. I cut it all. So I sold there at 682. Yeah, that's reasonable. That's very reasonable. My stop was pretty much 680. I did a good job cutting that one. I mean, alternatively, I could have gotten a squeeze all the way up. High day was here. My risk was 20 cents here. My profit target was 60 cents away. I mean, that's a 3-to-1 risk to reward. You know, I think that's a great trade. These will work out sometimes. Not always, but sometimes they will work out. And I think they'll work out more times than... Maybe not more times than not. Maybe they don't work out 50% of the time. But they'll work out enough for me to be profitable in this strategy.
I got cooked on that.
So, gave back...
Wasn't that bad?
Gave back all my profit from one trade, so that's, I mean, that's okay.
It's pretty bad.
It's okay. But see, I sized up there. I took the 5 shares. So, thought process here was, it's a Monday, first, you know, it's Monday, first day of the week. So I'm going to start out small size, build a cushion, and then slowly come up to it. If I had taken this trade as my risk parameters say, risking just $1, I would be up twice this amount, and then that would give me room to where this would only give back half my profit. But that's okay. I'm learning. Maybe I made the right decision, maybe I didn't. I still think I'm overall making good decisions, and I'm really happy with how I'm progressing, so that's good. So it didn't work here, you know, and it really doesn't end up working overall. I mean, it kind of just dumps. Then we're looking at other things, and then 9:30 it's open. I'm done trading. I only trade pre-market for now. Maybe I'll start trading the open at some point. It's just you have to deal with halts and resumptions and more volatility sometimes, and it's just different. I don't really want to do that too much. So one thing I wish I new before today is that you can do this log setting on the daily chart. Don't do it on, the minute chart or anything like that. Just do it on the daily chart, my opinion. But that makes it easier to see where resistance would be. So you see resistance here at 20. So now you can see that. Instead of having to zoom in and do all this, it just makes it so much easier. So that's something I will change for tomorrow. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. All these are resources I've created. These are all in our Whop community. If you want a good free group to join, check it out. We're all trying to help each other in there. Please, be careful not to spread misinformation or anything like that. Just, respect each other in there. So yeah, that's really it. But these are great resources. You have Live Journal I showed you. This emotional regulation. So it just helps you prepare emotionally for the trading day in specific trades. So that's super beneficial. And then this basically just kind of goes into my strategy a little more. I do need to update it a little bit, but it kind of just goes into the strategy. So the broker I'm using is CMUG Capital. They're an overseas broker, no PDT minimum. They are a direct access broker, which means you pay commissions, but the commissions are not super high. So overall, they're a fine broker. In our Whop community, we have a lot of discounts to brokers and Charts Watcher, and you can get this exact setup for Charts Watcher. So check all that out. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow.